Hey Collab crew, I'm Andrea.
And I'm Ashley.
And we're empowering estheticians one conversation at a time.
Today we are filming in a new location with special guests, Sam and Anastasia. Please introduce yourselves.
Hi guys, my name is Samantha and I am the managing editor of LNE and Spa Magazine, and I handle the conferences at the International Congress of Aesthetics and Spa.
And I'm Anastasia Wagner. I'm the marketing director for also LNE and Spa Magazine, as well as the International Congress of Aesthetics and Spa. And I'm the one who handles all things marketing. So yes.
Thank you so much for having us in your studio and having the opportunity to interview you today.
Thank you guys.
We are
Thank you for having
so
us.
excited. We're always down for a road trip, get together with other girls that are in the industry. So I feel like today is going to be really good.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Lots of fun.
It's always fun when we're together.
Yes, exactly.
So what made you guys want to start a podcast?
Wow. It's like, where do I start? We wanted to start a podcast because, we have the magazine, LNE and Spa Magazine. We have the shows, and the magazine's like a way for us to connect with estheticians year round. But I don't know about you, but we felt like it wasn't really enough. We really wanted our voices to be out there and to amplify your voices and do something where we can spotlight estheticians, where we can interview them and really just inspire other estheticians, all learn from each other. So yeah, that's where the idea came about.
I love that.
Esthetician Edit was actually something that we launched as a blog years ago, when blogs were a thing, and now podcasts seem to be a thing.
Yeah.
So we kind of have to get on board with the times.
No, for sure.
But it's
Yeah.
actually been an idea that we've had for years.
Yeah.
We just never
Yeah.
got to it, and we're so excited that we finally came together to get this going.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
Same for me. I've been wanting to do a podcast for years, and every time I thought I found someone to do it with, it just didn't
It
work.
didn't work out.
It didn't work. So I was like, Ashley, you want to do a podcast with me? She's like,
And
a
Ashley is the
podcast?
perfect person ever.
So she was on board, and we kind of just went with it. And, just taking it a day at a time. An episode at a
One
time.
conversation at
At
a
a
time.
time.
Exactly.
Yes,
Exactly,
we've had so
exactly.
much fun too. Yeah, and having other estheticians on, with it being the Esty Collaborative, and we're again just how you are all about connecting estheticians, opening up conversations, which today we're going to be talking a little bit about trade shows and networking with estheticians and how that can really advance and elevate your career, help you find some new Esty besties and get some really great education.
Yeah. So
Yes,
exciting.
I think that's something that especially seeing Herbal Skin Solutions when you guys are all together, and just the way that you guys have treated me too, as a new esthetician, has been so nice. And I think that it's something that every esthetician should experience, whether you're new or whether you're more experienced, is going to a show and getting to know other estheticians that really can have your back and help you, and we can all learn from each other. So I just want to say thank you also
Yeah.
for that,
that's
for
so
just being
cute.
so kind to me.
Yeah, of course. That's what it's all about. Just with open arms, welcoming everybody, regardless of the stage of your career. So, but you recently, you were with the magazine, right, and the show group, ICES, and then you went to esthetician school. So you
Yes.
just graduated esthetician school.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about that, Sam, and what made you decide to go back to school.
So I studied English, editing, writing, and media at FSU, and I always wanted to write, but I'm the type of person that, if I'm not passionate about something, I will hate my job, and if I'm not passionate about what I'm writing about, then I don't, I can't write. So I got really, really lucky that this job fell into my lap, and I actually was editorial assistant for a month before I became editor, and I really had to learn the industry, not knowing anything about it, and I fell in love with the industry right away. Mostly the estheticians, because it's such a creative industry where you really get to be your own boss. I felt I was meeting a bunch of boss babes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm just a creative person, and then I loved receiving facials. So I would go and interview estheticians, receive facials, and I love how I would feel when I would leave a facial. So I wanted to give that also to others, and I just kind of wanted to join the
forces.
crew,
Join
like
the forces.
join the club. It kind of felt like I was an editor, but I was like, I want to be an esthetician too, and so I went to school, and now it does feel better being an Esty too.
Okay. Okay. So what inspired you to join ICES LNE, like the team?
So, I mean, it was kind of one of those things, it was like my third job after college, and I got really lucky with this job. It really did fall in my lap. And I love the team because we're so small, and we're really tight-knit and close, but everyone genuinely cares about like putting on a really, really good show and keeping like estheticians in mind first. So I just fell in love. We also have a lot of autonomy.
Yeah, a lot.
Like we're all like
We're like a little family.
one-man
I love
shows
that,
for
yeah.
each department. Like we have one marketing
Yeah.
director, one
We're all our
editor,
own departments.
one show director. So everyone like has a lot of trust and autonomy, and that's cool, you know.
That is cool.
Yeah.
I love that. That's
Yeah.
Which a
really
lot of
awesome.
people don't know about us, but it's
Yeah.
just 5 of us now that are running the shows.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems almost impossible for 5 people to do it. But as someone that has worked with a lot of show groups and a lot of trade shows, I tell you guys this all the time after we wrap up a show. You're the best ones to work with, the easiest, the most kind, the most that look out for your vendors and your attendees. To the tens. I mean, everything is just like you're checking in, how's everything going? If there's like a fire that needs to be put out, like you're running around trying to, do all that. So as somebody from the vendor side of things too, it's greatly appreciated. Because it's a very stressful time,
Yeah.
to do the shows, as much
Yeah.
fun as we have, but there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes too.
Yeah,
So
and that's one thing that I'd say is like, at least for us, when it comes to like vendors, we give you that experience, like that one-on-one experience. You need something, you're gonna get it right away, right? With other, general shows, things like that, you have several people that are included in it. Us, it's just, again, we're one person. So you're going directly to that person, and that person is gonna get, what needs to be done right away.
yeah.
So it's like very on top of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we respect like everyone that's involved. So like the educators are going to have their own experience, right? And a lot of educators, like every year we try and choose new ones. So sometimes it's their first time speaking, and it's like a big deal for them. So we want them to have a good experience. We want the estheticians to have a good experience, and we also want the vendors to have a good experience. So that's really important to us.
Yeah, and I think that that's what brings the show together.
Yeah, it like
You
ties
know,
it
Do
all.
you
It
think
all
that's
ties
what
them
makes
together.
you guys so unique and different from other conferences and trade shows?
I think so.
I think so, and I'd also say like us, our biggest, like I'd say like what our motto is elevation through education. So we really want to educate, right? So we're trying to bring everyone together so that you can continue your education. Because yes, you go to school, but not everything that you learn in school is what's in the outside world, right? So coming to these shows, you're able to like get, with the trends and the new technologies, and you get to test new products. You're feeling them, like you get to do that kind of stuff that in any other like random day you wouldn't necessarily be able to do.
Yeah.
So definitely going to the shows is going to help you do that, especially if you're like whether you're starting or whether you've been an esthetician for years. You've come to a lot of our shows, so as the shows go by, different days, different times, then we start to evolve and grow together rather than just like, okay, the show happened, like we're done. No,
Yeah.
it's a continuing process every single year.
Yeah, I mean, we're literally in contact with you guys all year round.
Yeah.
It's not like you're just messaging us 6 months before the show, like, hey, grab your spot, get your spot.
Yeah.
Like throughout the year, you're highlighting all your vendors' products, the esthetician spotlights, estheticians that come to the show that have made connections with some of the brands and exhibitors at your shows. So again, adding that value, and I do, going back to with the podcast tying into that, will just be another way to get that information out there
so that's
too.
what we really wanted to do with Esthetician Edit, is kind of like we have our separate things. We have the magazine and then we have the show,
Yeah.
but Esthetician Edit is what's going to tie those two in together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's
so
what
tell
we're
us a little history about LNE, ICES. How long has it been around? How did it come together? Which was first? Was it the trade show? Was it the magazine?
The
Give us a
magazine,
little.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the magazine, it was originated in France. So it's actually called La Nouvelle Esthétique and Spa Magazine. You could probably say it better than me because she's French. You wanna say it?
One moment, please. Let me get up my French accent. It's Les Nouvelles Esthétiques.
Ooh,
Oh my
gosh,
You just made me realize how I butcher the name every time I say it.
It's actually
Oh
really
my
funny
gosh.
because we have, so just a little fun fact, like when we answer our phone, like the landlines that we have here, it's like, hello, Les Nouvelles Esthétiques. But in reality, like, I'm French, so I should be answering like Les Nouvelles Esthétiques with my, with my French accent. Like,
Yeah.
And I'm like, Les Nouvelles Esthétiques, and I'm like, why am I doing that?
Because everyone else says it like that.
Everyone else says it like that, and it's actually funny because one day we were having this conversation in the lunchroom, and we're like, in French, like, there's a lot of words that have S at the end of it, but you don't necessarily like say
Pronounce it, yeah.
S. Yeah, so it's like it's not Les Nouvelles Esthétiques, right? You just do Les Nouvelles Esthétiques, kind of like ending
Stop
with
it
the
at
E.
the C.
At the E. Stop it at the E. Yeah.
Oh, the way it's spelled. I'm thinking aesthetics.
It's spelled differently.
Yeah. It's spelled differently. Okay, got it.
But yeah.
So it was
That's
started
awesome.
in, the magazine was started in France?
Yes, in 1952. We actually have a lot of different editions. So like there's the American edition, there's the French, there's even Canada.
Oh, nice.
One time I did like an interview for I think like Scandinavia or something. Like it was a random country. I have it somewhere.
I don't know.
I'm
I will
very
double check
proud of
that.
it. They interviewed me and I don't understand anything, but I know like what I said. It's a different language. But yeah, so it started off at it there, and then it was brought to the U.S. And then the show, our first show was 1996. No, 1992. 1992. And we started off in Miami and California. So, and then it just
And then
grew
evolved
from
into
there.
Philly.
Yeah, into Philly and
And
Dallas.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's a very like family-owned business.
Okay.
So that's something that at least I take true to heart. Just to give you guys a little bit about background of myself, like I'm actually a complete opposite of Sam. I was kind of like born into the industry. My parents owned hair salons all throughout kind of like in Paris. We also had in New York, and then here in Miami we had a couple of them too. So I was always like introduced to like the skin, the hair, the nails, all that kind of stuff. Like we also have a spa. So I think that kind of helped me, and I've always wanted to continue working for that kind of industry. So I got really lucky actually with this job. For me, it's a little bit more personal, meaning like the boss was friends with my father, and I kind of got the opportunity to come and work for this company. And funny enough, I think you remember, I started working here as a sales assistant for the trade shows. But I did graduate with like business and marketing, so I was super interested in going to that.
Yeah.
And then little by little, I was able to start evolving here in the office, and that's why I'm now the marketing director, and I absolutely love it. Again, how Sam said, like we have the freedom to kind of, and the trust. That's like the biggest thing. We have the trust, to kind of just do what you want to do and
But get the job done.
Exactly, get the job done.
We
but,
both
see-
started as assistants, which
We
is
both
so
started as
cool.
assistants.
That's
Yeah.
so cool.
It's amazing.
Worked
Yeah.
your way up.
And we
I
were
love
trusted with a lot really fast. Like we
Fast.
worked our way up really, really fast.
Yeah.
Because you're both amazing at what you do,
Yeah.
super
Yeah.
personable, and like I think you bring like a nice young vibe and like
Yes.
energy, to the office
We're the younglings
too.
of
So
the office.
I know, no shade to the rest of the crew. We
love
we
you
love
guys.
everybody here. But yeah, I think that makes a difference too. So yeah, good
But we're
for
super
you.
excited
Yeah.
for 2025. We have a lot in store, and
Yeah.
we're excited to kind of like bring that to you guys through our podcast. Yeah, we're very excited.
Yay. So, what can estheticians expect when they go to the ICES LNE trade shows?
So there are a lot of opportunities for the attendees. Again, the most important for us is our education. So we do make sure that we reach out and get those educators that are going to educate, the attendees for different kinds of topics, right? So sometimes we have what are we going to have this
So
year?
we like to have like a variety of topics to kind of like fit like every type of esthetician. So we have our advanced workshops which are more branded, so that you're actually going to go and you're going to learn like specifically about the products and treatments and more so like ingredients.
Yeah, those workshops are sponsored by the exhibitors. So the vendors that are going to be there, they're the ones that are going to be talking about that
Yeah.
specifically for their brand.
And then we
Yeah.
have the conferences, which are not branded at all. We actually have like a strict rule that it can't be branded, just to keep it purely educational. And so we actually choose what those topics are for the year, and we like to keep it like a variety of it. So we'll do like holistic, like next year we have like a buccal face massage. That's big.
Image skincare, so like brows, typical brows, lashes, makeup. We like to add that as well.
And then also business.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I think that's kind of the most important part, right? That's, I think we're all really good at skincare and treating the skin and stuff, but when it comes to the business side of it, I think that's where we can kind of doubt ourselves. Or that's like the education I think that we need the most, that we didn't really learn in esthetician school.
Absolutely.
So we have like a lot of conferences on like marketing, on like finances, things like that.
Branding.
Yeah.
Like stories, how you became who you are, the struggles that you're going to encounter getting there, all those kinds of tips and tricks.
Yeah, I feel like when it comes to that, that's one thing that we get a lot of feedback from our like little community, that they don't know how to put themselves out there or market, or what do I do with this side of the business, or what do I do with that side of the business. And it's like, man, it's just such a great area that's needed. So I think that's so important to host a class like that, especially for estheticians, because we don't know which way to go, what direction to go when we get out of school, and I kind of just learned everything on my own, Googling and just...
And that's the feedback that I've gotten from the shows, is a lot of them are like, we would love to have some more educational, meaning like more business, how can I open up my own studio? How can I make the money that I need to make? All this, like the finances, because again, that's not something that you necessarily learn in aesthetic school, right? That's something that you learn like in regular school. And even then, what you're learning at that time is not in today's world, right? So everything always changes. So definitely, business marketing is something that we always challenge to bring up to the shows.
I love that so much.
And I think too, like with the podcast, so you can learn so much just from hearing from an esthetician's story. Like even just I've done some conference calls already with certain estheticians that we want to interview, and like I'm like, just tell me your story, and like we'll kind of choose a topic from there. But it's like, for example, I talked to someone who's going to be on the podcast, one esthetician, that like right off the bat, like she had a different story in that she became super successful like really, really fast, because she does buccal face massage, and that just kind of blew up at the time that she first became an Esty. And she was bringing like $10K a month in, but she wasn't making any money herself, so she really had to learn about like budgeting and where was her money going and finances. So before talking to her, I'm like, okay, I have an idea of what like we can talk about for the podcast, but then she shares with me this, and I'm like, that's so valuable, right?
No, for sure.
Yeah.
I can definitely relate to that. Like in the beginning, it was a little slow, and then it kind of like took off, and I was having some pretty successful months, just like the esthetician you're referring to, and sometimes even more, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And when you first start seeing that come in, first of all, you got to put it back into the business. And I didn't feel like I was making very much of a profit, but it's because I wasn't managing the money correctly. And I do think that is so important to go over finances and letting the, up-and-coming estheticians know, like, you can't just spend the money just because you see it in the bank.
No, you gotta, like books, everything, write down, for sure. Yeah, especially as you get like busier and busier, it's gonna start getting worse and worse, and then you're like, what do I do? So definitely keeping yourself organized from the beginning is gonna help.
And I think like something that I kind of want to tell estheticians is like, really don't be afraid of what you don't know. Like when you come to these shows, you have the opportunity to ask questions. Usually there's like a Q&A at the end of like every conference that you go to. And like, don't be afraid to ask stupid questions.
Right, because there's no stupid questions.
There is no such thing as stupid question.
No.
And what? Sorry to cut you off. One thing that I've always said is like, what you think is a stupid question might not be a stupid question for the person to the left of you. And they didn't know, and they're like, wow, had you not said that, then I would have never known. So that's definitely out of the picture.
Yeah. Okay. And with everybody coming in at different stages of their careers, there's always things to learn. There's always something to pick up in these classes, Yeah, we've always really appreciated, working with Herbal Skin and being an educator at the shows, and just, being able to give the information to the people so they can leave class feeling good and confident.
And out of everyone, I would say, can kind of speak on that, meaning that, you know, you start off as an educator and it helps you, right? Like my point is that you become an educator and we assist you to get that, like the attendee base, and then you become, not like famous is what I'm trying to, I don't know the word, like not that you get famous, but you become more successful, you get more clientele, like, you know, you're growing, is what I'm trying to say, like you're growing.
Yes.
So definitely when you get the chance to become one of our educators, you're able to
you become a resource.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like we actually have
more
a lot
doors
of
and opportunities open from there.
There's a lot of speakers that we've actually had in the past that kind of completely changed what they were. Like they were an esthetician and now they've completely become an educator because they don't have the time to be able to do the facials and all that kind of stuff because they were so good at what they did that people are now like looking up to them and they're like, we want to go and get your classes and we want to come and get a training from you, or you know, this that you spoke about was so amazing to me, like it helped me open up my business. That stuff, it's so nice to hear. And to think that it all started from just a show, you know, which is why it's such a nice community and bonding.
Yes. So like, don't be scared, you know, to all the estheticians, and again, regardless of the stage of your career, it can seem a little bit overwhelming at first too. I think going into the shows, especially coming out of school, you already have all this information you're trying to figure out from school, and then you go into a show and it can seem like, oh my gosh, super overwhelming with all the classes, all the vendors, you know. What would you guys say is a way for people to get the most value out of attending the show?
So I had the experience of attending the show when I wasn't an esthetician, and then now becoming one. I just like, when I went to the show this year, I was very excited. I was overwhelmed, and I did have that fear of like, okay, if I go up to a brand and I ask a question that they think that I'm already supposed to know, like, am I going to sound stupid? There was a lot of that. So one, get that out of your head. Like, sometimes as educators, like, sometimes we assume that every esthetician knows what we know, and we kind of have to like dumb it down a little bit, or just, you know, 101, like keep it basic. But like, don't be afraid to ask questions. I would write down like a list of questions that you want to ask brands, because at the end of the day, like, choosing a brand for your spa is like, it has to be aligned with you. Like, it's much more than the actual product itself. It's like, how is the relationship going to be between us, like, outside of the show? Like, are you going to be really like there for me, responsive if I have an issue with shipping or, you know, anything? Am I going to receive education through your company, like if I do buy from your company? So just identify what you're looking for, really sit down and like ask the questions, like come prepared. I think some estheticians will like lose out a bit on the experience if they're not coming prepared.
And for that, I personally have a tip. This is a 2-day event. So what most people like to do, which I think is the smartest thing to do for a show that's like big, is on the first day, you know, you're super excited, so you want to go up to like the first vendor that you see and start buying all their products as you see how beautiful it's laid out and you're excited and you're like, let me hear about it. I would recommend, me personally, to just not do that. You know, take a moment to really go through every single aisle, get to know the companies, get to know the products, all that kind of stuff. And then on day 2 is when you're going to make your purchases, right? So you've kind of gathered everything. You're like, okay, I know what kinds of products I'm looking for. I like these companies the most, the connection that I had with them. Now I'm ready to purchase, and I'm going to go ahead and close the deal with this company, this company, this company, this company. That is like the biggest tip that I could give personally. And then another one, we do have our digital program that releases months ahead of time. And what that is basically just a program with like this class schedules, with the times, all that kind of stuff, the vendors that are going to be there. So you can pre-plan, which like is what Sam was saying, right? You want to make sure that you pre-plan, so when you get there, you're not unorganized, and then time goes by so fast that by the time you're like figuring it all out, it's time to leave, and then you're like, what did I do, right? So definitely step 1 is just make sure that you're organized, because that's going to save, like, that's going to save you.
I was going to
Yeah.
even say that you could even look at the list of vendors that are going to be there prior to going.
And do your
And do your
research.
own due diligence before arriving. That way
Absolutely.
you know what booths you want to go to, who you want to talk to, because it does get, the time goes by and it's a lot of...
It goes by really
Yeah,
fast.
it can get a little overwhelming. So, when we're talking about brands, what do show coordinators look for in brands and educators when finalizing their floor plan or classes?
So we look for one variety. So we're always, of course, thinking of the esthetician. Like if an esthetician is starting their practice or if they're more experienced, like what are they looking for? What do they need? So we like having brands who are obviously established and are trustworthy brands. But we also look for smaller boutique kind of style brands because some people want to work with them or
Right.
the
Yeah.
big brands,
And that allows them to kind of grow as well, right?
Mhm.
We're
Yes.
bringing you, it's your first time coming to one of our shows is one of the best things that can happen to you. Yes, of course, just like how life works, the first time around might not work for you, but then the second or the third is when it might start trickling in. You are new, but that's going to go ahead and give you the exposure to your business and to your products. So that's definitely, and then we are B2B, so business to business.
Business to business.
Yeah, we're not business to consumer. So that's something also that differentiates us from other shows as well. And then, we are a lot more boutique-y. And one thing that we love to say about our shows is the connection. You have the ability to go to a company, introduce yourself, talk to them, ask questions, create a connection. With our shows, you're able to do that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think we're looking for brands too that want to keep that connection going all the time, not just the show. They don't just want to make the sale; they see it as a long-term
Yeah, like a
client.
business
partner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
business
Yeah.
partner, because
Yeah.
essentially you are going into business with a new partner,
Right,
right?
right.
So that's very important to us.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's a lot of that at our shows, so that's something we're definitely proud of.
Yeah. So how do you get feedback from attendees to figure out what is the newest thing that people are wanting or to get that feedback post-shows? Do you send out surveys or, I know that you guys do a lot of even little interviews. You
Yeah.
have your own little booth set up and people can come and talk about their experience, do a little photo op and things like that.
So we do have a little bit of a mixture. So yes, we send out our email blasts that have surveys. Then we also do in-person interviews at the shows. Me personally, I will walk around the show floor. Hey, how are you? What's your name? How did you hear about us? Are you liking the show? Is there anything that you would, prefer? And I have had, several people who have told me, again, one of the biggest ones was the classes. I would love to have a business class on this, or I would love to have a makeup class, so kind of just hearing the word of mouth, I'd say, of what people have to say helps a lot. And we really take that into consideration. We personalize our shows a lot, and every single year, it completely changes. You'll come to our show, yes, you have your, the same companies who come here and there, which are the same attendees who will come several years after years after years. But I feel every show that you go to, it's the same, but it's just so different. The experience of it is different. Because every year you learn more, and every year you're a new person, and every year, you meet new people.
You're at a
you make
different
new
stage in
connections.
your business.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly, which is why we always recommend every year come to the show. It's not just because I did it last year and this company was there and this year they're going to be there again and I'm okay.
Need to go.
There's going to be so many more, opportunities, whether it be the classes, the workshops, whether it be exhibitors, whether it be just talking to attendees, making friends, Esty
Building
friends.
relationships.
Yeah, a lot of
regardless,
people that we've actually had as attendees have now become friends. I've heard stories of I met her at the ICES trade show and now we're best friends. That to me is one of the most important things ever, right?
That's
Being
good.
able to have those connections.
And we do a lot of interviews with estheticians. Sometimes we go get treatments and we just make that connection. It's such an easy way to make a connection too is through a facial.
Yeah.
So
it's already
I'll tell you anything you want to know.
Exactly, bare face, and then you just start talking. And so we like to build actually real connection with estheticians where we can ask them straight up, have you gone to a show before? Do you enjoy it? What do you like about the show? What don't you like about the show? because then that we take with us, and then we're like, okay, we're going to implement whatever it is that they're sharing with us.
Yeah, that feedback is so valuable.
So valuable.
Oh my goodness, that's really good though.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great way to connect with people and apply whatever feedback they give you to just make the show better and better.
Yeah, and then we
That's good.
actually go, so we go a few days before the show, Anastasia and I,
Yeah.
and we'll like visit spas and we'll give free tickets out.
Nice.
Because we want to make sure that we're like making that, like you guys know our faces, right? So if you come onto the trade show floor, if you see us, like come up to us. We're happy to help you. So yeah, and we attend the show ourselves. So we're like on the floor, and like also like I'm an esthetician, so I'm getting that experience as an esthetician too. And I'm going to be honest with my team if there's like something that I like or I don't like.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's funny because we both kind of mesh into the audience, like when it comes to like attendees. Like I've had people before, like think like vendors, for example, they're like, oh, like, hi, how can I help you? And I'm like, no, I work here. They're like products. I'm like, you know, you would think that like I'm going into like the 4th year of being in the company, so you would think like now going into like 4 years
They
of the
would
company,
know you.
they would know me.
No.
So not, which I get, you know, they see so many faces a year, and again, I'm more of like, I'm the marketing person, so I'm more like on the back end of things rather than like, I'm not dealing with you, I'm not selling you the booth, so like that connection is a little bit different. But I do love when I go on the floor and that happens to me and I'm like, no. Like, let me take a picture of you.
Right, yeah, you're going around with the camera, getting the content,
Exactly.
and filming the demos.
Yeah.
Which the on-the-floor demos, I think, is amazing, too, that you do at the show. You offer all your vendors an opportunity to set up booths, treatment tables, and really have people there to see the treatments in action.
Or
So
get them themselves,
Or-
get the treatments
Yes.
themselves.
What we
Sign
like
up
to
to
say
the
is like, try
levels,
before
yeah.
you buy.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
So like you're not sure about it, you want to test it, you want to see how it feels. If it's technology, if it's equipment, you want to see, you know, how does it work? Is it efficient? Is it fast? Is it, you know, you ask yourself all these questions, and by being able to go to a specific booth that's doing that live demo is going to give you so much more like reassurance of like, yes, I want to buy this, rather than, I'm not, you know, I don't know. Because if you're not doing that, how are they supposed to test it out, know if they're going to like it or not? You know what I mean? So that's super important. We always tell the vendors, like, if you can have that, please do it.
Yeah.
Because it's going to help you a lot when it comes to like attendees coming to your booth.
Oh my gosh, the crowds that a demo draws in.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really want to make yourself stand out at these trade shows, do live booth demos because that's where it's
That's
at.
what we push the most. Because
Yeah.
again, like I can't speak as an esthetician because I'm not one, but I would say like as an esthetician, if you see that, it's going to make you want to like go up to the booth and be like, well, what's happening
Buy
here?
the product, do the treatment.
Or like, you know, like I feel like when it comes to, for example, like lashes, right? There's so many different techniques of how you can do lashes. You might go up to like a specific person who's doing a demo and you're like, whoa, wait, what is she doing? And then that's when she goes and talks like, oh yeah, like this is the way like that I hold it, or this is the way that I put it in, or this is how you should be using the glue. And then they start thinking to themselves like, wait, that's not how I learned it, or this is a cool idea. So doing that kind of stuff is also like an extra, you know.
Yeah, because I think
helps.
as estheticians, it's easy to like isolate yourself, and you're in your room, you're just getting used to the way that you're doing things, comfortable in the way that you do things. But then when you go and you see a live demo, it's like, ooh, what is she doing? Like, this is different, right? And then you take little things from everyone, and you see if they work for you, and you just implement them into your own facials.
Yeah.
And then the workshops and the conferences too. We do offer like the demos inside as well, so that if there's specific treatments that are being taught, that you can go and learn how to do that treatment, which I think is also very important.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's so important. Ladies, thank you guys so
course.
much.
Thank
So
you.
we do have one final question. In 2025, what shows, locations, and dates can you guys share with future estheticians, current estheticians, consumers that would love to attend the show?
So our first show is actually going to be in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and that's going to be May 4th and 5th, 2025. Then after that, we have our Dallas one, which is also going to be in May, and it's going to be May 18 and 19.
Ooh,
Then we have a little bit of a break, and then in August, fast forward.
I love that.
Get a little summer break and then back in action.
That's going to be in Long Beach, California, August 24th and 25th, which is my personal favorite show. And then we have some very exciting news.
We have a new location.
Hello, can you share?
Yes, we have a new location. We're going to be doing our 4th show in Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
What's the date?
It's going to be October 19 and 20th.
That's
Yes.
exciting.
Yes, it's a more centralized location, so if you're like driving up from like Orlando, Tampa, it'll be faster to get there. And then also too, like if you're traveling, the Fort Lauderdale airport
Yeah,
is
it's
just
a lot more
better-
centralized.
Yeah.
Yeah, more centralized area. So we're going to be able to like get a lot more audiences and attendees from different areas. Yes.
Yeah.
So we're super excited about that.
Nice.
So
This was
exciting.
so fun. Oh my gosh.
We had so much fun interviewing you today, getting to know a little bit more about the show group, ICES, and the magazine that I don't want to butcher the name.
None of our listeners.
Thank you. But yes, I know that for me as an esthetician personally, going to trade shows has made such a huge difference in my career as an attendee and as an exhibitor. So we highly encourage all of our Esty besties to get out there, go to a show, connect, network, and have those experiences.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in going to a show or reading the magazine is a free issue. It comes out on the 1st of every month. Go to lneonline.com and you can follow us on Instagram at ICES_LNE, and then our new Instagram now, Esthetician Edit, and follow our podcast. I know it's like a lot, but if you just follow those 2 Instagrams, or LNE Online it's like that one-stop hub that has everything
Yeah,
in it.
and you can sign up for our newsletters as well. That's definitely going to go ahead and input you into like the informational periods of things. Like we send out those newsletters. So that's definitely going to help. And then exciting, the websites for the first 2 shows are going to be coming up in the new year. So in January,
okay.
that will be published, and then people will start being able to purchase their tickets.
Yay! Exciting. We'll definitely share that too to our audience once those
Yes.
tickets go live and you have the itinerary together so
Absolutely.
we can share.
Yes. So we always make sure to publish that you guys know when we're going to go live, when the digital program goes live, all that kind of stuff. We push it all out. So
Amazing.
yes. Stay tuned.
All right, Collab crew, that is a wrap. Thank you so much to our special guest again. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and give us feedback and let us know if you've ever experienced a trade show and what you like about it and what you did not like about it. All right, so until next time.
Bye. Bye.